Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. I made the perfect video about a smoker I built. And I showed this video to my friend and he said, you know what? This video is not in fact the perfect video about a smoker. He said, what's missing is your face in this video. So I decided to record this little clip, add it to the beginning. Here I am, the builder of the smoker. I'm Aaron Smith. Come play with fire with me. Let's have fun. This is something that I made entirely 100% myself out of scrap steel that I bought locally at Fulton Steel here in Gainesville, Texas. At first, all I did was I bought one of these axles, and then I bought another axle as this project grew, as it got bigger, and I realized this smoker was going to be a little bigger than your typical backyard smoker. And so right now what I'm doing is I am cleaning it out. I used it for the St. Mary's Fall Festival hamburger stand. We cooked hamburgers, steaks, hot dogs, all kinds of goodies in here for an entire day, did a big fundraiser. We raised a lot of money. And so we had it running all day long, and then we shut it down in the evening. And so there's a little bit of gristle and fat and stuff in there that I'm just trying to burn off and make sure it's entirely cleaned out. And so I got the fire going in here. The Firebox is made entirely out of 1/2-inch thick steel, really thick because I want it to last a long time. Yeah, when I look into that fire, I feel like as a human being, I am programmed to love this fire. Because our relationship with fire is as old as I think the human race is. It's as old as the dawn of time. And it's because we, as human beings, we evolved a relationship with fire that I think makes us human. I'm the man and this fire is the beast. And I use this smoker to control this beast. And now it's getting out of control. So I'm gonna close these doors and I'm gonna choke it. I'm gonna control it by taking air away from it, keeping it from breathing. And it wants out. It's getting bigger, and I've got to close it before it gets out of control. There. I'm gonna close it up, and I'm exercising my dominion over this beast. And now I've controlled it, and it's gonna cook me dinner. I really just want air to get in through these intakes that I made here, also at a 1/2-inch thick steel. And what I did was I welded a bolt onto this plate and then a nut in there. And so I grab these handles, spin it, and it goes in and closes to cut off air entirely, or you can just let it creep out and let as much air in as you want. And so I've got those air intakes on both sides, and I can't let it get too hot, because if I let it get up to 800 to 1,000 degrees, it starts to melt these taillights. That's what happened right here. I got it up over 800 degrees and I started melting the taillights. And then it'll start melting the wiring that keeps the taillights working. And so we've got air going in right here. Once we get the flow going, which we've got going right now, the smoke comes out these smokestacks. And this is another way that I regulate the heat, is by how much I open up these smokestacks. Right now we're just getting started. Oh, we've already got the temperature up to 500 degrees. That is too hot, ladies and gentlemen. And so in the bread box, we're not nearly as hot. We're only up to about 300 degrees. But we just started. And so we got that hot. So what I'm gonna do is cut it off a little bit. I don't want it to be that hot. And cut it off on both smokestacks. A little bit. Then we're going over here to the air intake. We got too much air getting in, giving this fire too much breath. We can't let this thing go as hard and far as it can go, or as hot as it can go. So we've got to choke it a little bit, and that's what we do by spinning these air intakes. We're gonna choke some of that air off, restrict it, restrict the airflow that goes in, and the air that goes, or the smoke and air that goes out, and it will cause the temperature to go down. And once we get it to a steady state to where it's just humming right along, Wow, so we got the temperature up here. It's a little hotter. I'm gonna let some of it out. Whoa. All right, so we've got a little fire going in here. What this is some of the grease. Wow, so it's really starting to go. When I close this, okay, so see that? It lit up a little more. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to burn off some of that grease. I'm gonna close it. Oh, we got a fire in there. But that'll put it out. But we're trying to burn off a lot of this grease and gristle that's built up so that I can basically just clean it out. I've got these weights that keep the doors real light. You see, I'm hardly having to use any effort, and it doesn't just slam down like if that weight isn't there. So I used metal pipes, and I put a bunch of steel rods inside of it till it was just the right weight, and then I sealed it off with some steel. And these little chains are here so that I can hook it onto here, and so when I'm driving down the road, the doors don't fly open. And then this is the big bread box. It stays a little bit cooler than the rest of it, but it's still pretty hot. You can cook hamburgers or whatever inside of here. Got 5 trays in here that slide in and out. And these big pipes right here, that's where the smoke comes from. They lead all the way into the firebox where the fire is. We can see these pipes, how they go from the firebox into the smoke chamber. And you can see there's holes in there. They're starting out real small, but they just get closer together and bigger as they go out to the end, as they extend out into the actual smoke chamber. A lot of work went into making this, a lot of thought into this design. It works great. I love it. It's so much fun. Playing with fire can be dangerous unless you have it under control. And in this situation, I have it under control. So I get to have a lot of fun. Yep. We pump that heat right in from here into that chamber, and we make hamburgers and steaks with it. All right. And so look, we've already got the temperature down over here to 350 degrees. That's good. That's the result of restricting that airflow coming in. So we can get it hot way out here, far away from the firebox, just like it's hot right up there, up close to the firebox. Okay, so now I'm gonna close that door. This propane tank I got out from under an RV at a different salvage yard. And I put it on here, made the trailer first, put all this stuff on here, ran piping, and it works great to run these burners right here for cooking beans or heating up boiling water. And so these, got an acorn kind of messing with the hinge right here. Get those out of there. These homemade hinges that I made. And so we lift it up. So we've got this regulator here. We've also got these regulators, like this one right here, and this one right here. Now this one, that little knob, when you open it up, it sends gas into the firebox, and so that helps me get the wood burning more easily. I just turn on the propane, light it, throw the wood in there, let it run for a little while, and then we've got a good fire going. So when I get it too hot, like up over 800 degrees, it does, as I said earlier, melt these, it'll melt the lights off. It just causes problems. One of the reasons I made this firebox 1/2 inch thick steel rather than 1/4 inch is because when it gets really, really hot, if you let it get up to 1,000 degrees, this can actually sag, and that's a lot less likely to happen if it's thicker steel. So it hasn't sagged at all as a result of being hot, and that's in big part because I chose to make it out of thicker steel. So that thick steel just makes my life a whole lot easier, gives me more peace of mind in knowing that this is just going to last a lot longer, this entire smoker. So these wheels I got from a guy, he was at the junkyard or the salvage yard, and I said, hey, I like those wheels on this old truck that was there. It was just a piece of junk truck, and he said that he wouldn't sell them to me because he's gonna give them to his cousin. So I offered him a little little extra cash, and he sold them to me. And so I think they're real appropriate on this particular smoker, having wheels that, flaming wheels on the flaming smoker. All right, so now we're up to about 400 degrees. That's about where I want it. And the longer we can keep it at that temperature, the more closely the temperature of the bread box is going to reflect the temperature right there. So right now, the bread box, we've only got it at 250 degrees. So that's because we just started heating this up. But after about an hour of it staying at that temperature, this will get up to about 350 degrees. So once it hits steady state, there's about a 50-degree difference between the temperature in the bread box, this part of the smoke chamber, and the rest of the smoke chamber. And it'll stay that way. It'll stay at a steady state all day long as you have the air intakes adjusted just right and the outflow smokestacks adjusted just right. And so then all you have to do is throw a log in every 2 or 3 hours, and it'll stay the temperature. Or maybe one to 3 hours, it'll stay the same temperature all day long. So for 12 to 48 hours, it'll just run like this, same temperature, and all you have to do is throw in a log periodically to keep it going, to keep it consuming what it needs to heat up like this. And so I'm glad to be able to show this to you. Oh, here's something I didn't show you. I made this to put a cooler on or a keg, and so I put these chain links, and you just put a bungee around them, put it around the cooler, and it'll stay on there. Right there, we've got these holes for draining rainwater, so it doesn't puddle right there. But I've got 3 jacks just for stability, extra stability, because I don't want one jack to fail and have it fall and hurt somebody. So we've got 3 of them, one right here, one in the front, and then another one over here on the other side. So, and then, see, this Firebox is where I make a lot of my artwork. I'll sit right here in a chair, put my feet inside of there when this thing is, cleaned out and not hot like it is now. When I'm not using it as a smoker, I'll work on top of this Firebox. It's my workstation table. And so here's the fire again. We kind of choked it off. And so it's going real slow, but now that we open these doors up, it's letting the air rush in there, and it's not gonna be long before you're gonna see this fire get big. So you can already start seeing some of those flames. We'll sit here and watch for a little while. It's going out those smokestacks really fast. But now it's got this air, look, it's growing really quickly. It won't take long if I don't close these doors before this fire is just shooting out all the way out here to where the cell phone is. So it's just fun to have this kind of control over the fire. You just, you give it air, you take air away, and that's how we control the fire. We don't give it too much air if we don't want it to get out of control. If we can't control how much air we're giving this fire, then we can't control how hot it gets. If we can't control how hot it gets, then we can't cook anything on it. We're just gonna burn up anything that we try to cook with it. So there we go. Beautiful fire. And now we're gonna choke it because we don't want it to get too beautiful. Quit letting that air in there. All right, well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I enjoyed showing you my smoker. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.